back to game number 4 of the Zenith Scrims. You are with me, Ab Summer, and as always, the incredible HighlandWolf.
Yeah, one more game. Oh my goodness, but we haven't seen a wrangle yet, but we get to see it now. And I tell you what, I am super hyped to see a wrangle. I love a wrangle, and especially this newer wrangle.
Exactly, and a wrangle, it's the classic map. You know, it was the first map of PUBG, and I think because we did miss game number 1, I think this is going to be double brilliant. But as always, we have seen some incredible play tonight. I think I need to mention KDV with their brilliant win. We obviously had Unicorns of Love too. So I think really anything is up for grabs at the moment.
Oh, KDV are like mouth-watering right now. I mean, impressed with those plays. Yes, they got 4th position, but it could have been so much worse. They almost deleted the chicken dinner winners, which were Unicorns of Love. So I think that definitely moving into this game, especially considering KDV were the winners of game number 1 in a wrangle, there's big things and big expectations for this team, but the playing path will be going from the north to the south here, and it will be in favour of a couple of these teams that like to go to the western side here. Obviously, the likes, of course, of Georgia Pole and the likes of BetX will be happy about that one.
And also, by having areas like Gatka and Quarry and Primorsk especially, I think they're the places. You have the coastal areas as well as the inland areas, and you have vehicles around as well. So I think it'll be a really open opportunity for any teams if they should land there. But what's in at the moment is teams dropping both sides of the flight path. So I think that these teams are going to be really spread out. And I think it could be a really slow start perhaps. But I think as it nears the end of this game, I think we're going to see some really impressive play.
Yeah, and obviously no surprise again, UDR drop into Pachinki. That is their main drop location. Again, with Bloodline to the South Island. Love to go down there. And I think the South Island is somewhere that's really underappreciated. But considering the amount of loot that you can grab there as a team, and the fact that you don't have to fight at all, because no team goes there ever.
And I think that's such an unfortunate thing. It is a brilliant location if you use it well. But looking at the zone, it is on the western side at the moment, but it's still keeping in that coastal area. So I think we could be seeing some really strategic play this time round. But I can't help but just move towards Gage and slightly, as I think that something may be happening very shortly.
Right, this is where the impact of the teams are, but just north here, X-Team and Dreamers, they're riding against each other, and Andy might be the one to try finish off Dreamers here on the bridge here. Is Beg for Mercy going to fall down, be the first kill of the game, as Meku runs him over. And that will be Dreamers making their way over to Yasnaya Polyana. They're going to split away, but not before X-Team go down to 3 members. And as you say, Gaijin Adobo scouting out here against the real deal as well.
And I can't ever think that X-Team made a really bad game choice starting here by splitting so early. It may just be that the flight went wrong for them, possibly, we wouldn't really know. But I can't ever think that they really could have avoided losing Mercy so early.
Yeah, definitely going to affect them, especially if they have to rotate perhaps towards the southwestern edge. Will be definitely a really difficult decision for them where they want to be moving around. And I think equally, the likes of Canadian Power, they have an interesting decision right as well. They can go down to the South Island, cross the west side bridge back into the main area, or they can even try risk it through all of these teams on the eastern wall of players that we see. And I think it is a decision about where these players decide to move first of all, and that's where I see these engagements and even third parties come out from this cluster of teams.
And I think whatever team we see at the moment, you know, a lot of these teams are separated at the moment. There are a fair few splits going on. And I can't help but think that this is just too early for that style of play. But obviously, these teams are experienced. They know what they're doing. So there may be a tactical approach they're trying to make at the moment. But X-Team Andy is taken down by an explosion.
Yeah, and I think we see, of course, Gaijin. They're going to be making their way with Adobo round to either way, they try scouting out against the real deal, and I like that Dobo is trying to split around, be a little bit cautious here as they search for new places to rotate to, and I think this is a smart decision coming from them in getting away from these cluster teams. It's unfortunate, I think, the real deal, they're going to go towards Pachinki, and UDR might try find a couple kills onto him for there.
And we're looking at Hackshot at the moment as they move forward towards UDR killers, and Hackshot has got the AKM and Uzi at the moment. An Uzi, a brilliant weapon, as the fast rate of fire really can do some damage, but they do not have a lot of protection in terms of helmets and vests at the moment, so this could be a really risky choice from the real deal. But what we are seeing at the moment is UDR slightly separated. They may be thinking that there is nobody nearby at the moment, but hopefully they will be cautious and notice that there is a threat lurking nearby.
Right, and I like that Lucis is splitting away here, trying to find an angle. I think they do realise now that the real deal are approaching Pachinki compound here in looking for a way inside. In looking at the rest of this map, obviously we have to keep in mind the Western teams here as well, Unicorns of Love, BFS, they're going to have a little bit of a tricky time, but UDR are going to be striking first here onto Clown, and Elise is still barely surviving here.
Wow. So what we are seeing is Ulysses is knocked at the moment, as well as Sandro. We have two members of UDR down. We now have the real deal Spray moving over, getting a rotation left. We have smokes being thrown just to give a little more protection. And that is Ulysses down. We still have Sandro knocked. We have Nano and we have Pocus nearby. And the real deal are really being held back whilst Nano tries to get a revive on Sandro. Pocus is trying to do his bit. But not only that, we now have Codex moving in. So the real deal are now being third-partied by Codex. They are giving UDR the chance to revive and heal up. And we have Pocus down by Hackshot. We have Codex Fowler taken down. Hackshot too.
Here he goes. Oh my days. Codex, so... Sorry to interrupt after the weight goes down, and Pocus also down with Hackshot. So I think Codex here, they have the advantage. They just need to try finish off Ace and Clan. But keep in mind Nano and Sandro from behind. They might be able to revive Pocus here.
And AZ is just taken down by a brilliant grenade from Lucy. We now have Fowler driving in. Clown is trying to get the revive, but they are being pushed by Codex.
Yeah, Codex here, they picked such an opportune moment just to drive in, and I love the aggression that came out. Unfortunately, Wade was a little bit aggressive. Thankfully, the teams kept him alive. But there's three members versus the real deals now down just to one. Clown knocks Wade there. Fowler and Lucci gonna try 1v1. Clown takes down Lucci. Will Clown be able to take down Fowler as well? We've got the UDR killers on the other side. Fowler can't get inside the building. Wade on the opposite side needs to be revived, but Clown might just go for a little bit of a peek. Doesn't have a grenade to finish him off.
And another member of Codex is taken down as Pocus is knocked too. Sandro is down. Nano on the rotation. We still have Clown inside. Clown is now down. Wait is pushing in. And Fowler is taken down too. And Wait takes down Clown.
But unfortunately, the real deal there, they put the work into Codex for UDR. And despite UDR being the first team to be oppressed inside of Pachinki here, they're still in control. And Codex, Wait, needs to retreat, which is what they will do at 100 miles per hour. It's straight to the wall, but needs to go even further.
And Wait is just now making that retreat. More damage than he would like to be. And UDR are not holding back. They are going full on and going at him with their weapons. But Wait just manages to get cover inside the building. But what we have also just seen on the left-hand side is Gaijin going up too. And they have lost a member as Michi is taken down.
Yeah, and surely Polar Ace on the flank side onto the Everest Hill there will be keeping an eye on this fight as Gaijin make their ascent onto KDV inside the base camp here. And I think at KDV, they are obviously the team that we need to watch out here. I think the most in this final game is Gaijin, also equally guild will need to try find perhaps a split with Adobo around the flank side. Could put some pressure onto KDV, especially considering that Whiskey and Ked will find it hard to shoot them from that angle as well.
And as we saw, KDV were the winners in game 1, so they'll be hoping to maintain that winning streak in game number 4. But Gaijin is really using the landscape to their advantage, and they are prone at the moment, just hiding out of the way as KDV approach very nearby. And they are near to ruins at the moment, so they will have those structures to hide behind too.
Yeah, and I think it is going to be towards the Everest area here. We'll see the cluster of teams start to pile up, and especially with this first phase zone just about to come to an end here, Abs and this zone will go down centre into the main island, so it will be comfortable for a lot of these teams to begin with. But Gaijin get, unfortunately, the first knock against KDV, but they are there to cover this 2-2 split coming from KDV. Will allow them to cover each other if that first knock, as we've seen, does get taken off.
And Gaijin J is just moving in slightly, remaining just on the left-hand side, just by that ridge, not going too far in, just trying to scout out the area without putting himself at too much risk. And then we have Sedgwick and Adobo on the right-hand side, just sticking together, so we now have a 2-1 split. We have Satsura moving in by Buggy, trying to possibly run over, but just spins round as Jay keeps firing. So we now have Satsura moving away. We have Nicola, Impress and Blanc still at that small compound by the ruins. And we have Gaiden inside their vehicles too, just getting ready to move. As BFS now start getting knocked too, going up against Bloodline.
But equally on the north side here, we do see Dream Eaters. They've made aggressive rotations, and as Meku is all the way in deep into Red Reserve here, just north of Everest, and this will be this 1 versus, it's 3 versus 4 situation with a 1 versus 3 on Meku. Deep inside, but pulling out the work, and Bloodline will fall down on the other side to BFS, and that will be, unfortunately, BFS getting rid of Bloodline on their ascent across the bridge and into the main area of the zone.
And looking at the Red Reserve and the Dream Eaters, they are near to Georgia Pole at the moment inside the small compound. Grenades are being prepared by HVVP onto the roof. It just gets in that window, but unfortunately no one was there to receive it. We have Red Reserve Frost down at the moment, and we have another member of Dream Eaters down too. We have members of Red Reserve on the rooftop. Looks like they're now trying to get the revive as Victor comes down the stairs but gets taken down by HVVP and now goes up against Callista but gets knocked.
Unfortunately, Frost will be thirsted down there, has been bled out. And now with Prolord coming into the play, I think they could have been a little bit more aggressive with their final member of Dream Eaters, and Toffee's coming in here. But Kalista and Victor going to be knocked up, only Kalista remaining. Low health Kalista will be finished off. And Dream Eaters, so they do play it well enough, with their early rotations were the reason why they kind of painted Red Reserve. And I'm really impressed that actually Meku staying alive and really doing work against Red Reserve with that very aggressive push in.
And that does surprise me because Red Reserve have been a consistently good team, and I just don't know if this was to be their game, you know. And I think they found themselves at George, a great loot spot, but finding themselves closed in that compound was where I think they really suffered.
Yeah, and I think that Meku really took advantage of that right as well, and I think Dream Eaters also have to be careful considering X Team are just where Dream Eaters were versus Red Reserve. They could see kind of deja vu against themselves, but towards the other side, the eastern map, the Power need to also watch their positioning here, because as this zone does get smaller, these teams crunching up a little bit closer together, and I think they could find themselves surrounded a third party by UDR and Codex together.
And I think at the moment BFS are in the best location. They are south at the moment, just on the inside of the zone. They are missing the real action that's taking place in the centre, with KDV near to BetX and Codex. So I think once that's quietened down a little and some damage has been done, that would be the time for BFS to just slide in and get a few kills of their own.
Yeah, and I think BFS, as you say, have that strong advantage. And I think if the zone does move towards further north, though, that could be a slight disadvantage for them, trying to find a way through all of these teams. They would have to make a far rotation round to the west, would be the only way realistically without fighting to make it to the north side. But Scrim Farm, they also have a good position here on the outskirts of this zone. We'll be interested to see how the side of Dream Eaters, though, with Prolog making an interesting rotation, and considering X Team are slightly looking a little bit more passive here, and Dream Eaters is going to be the ones aggressing onto him, despite being outside that zone. It's a really difficult rotation for these teams as it shifts hard west.
And Prolord has separated from the remaining members of Dream Eaters. They're scoping in on that compound at the moment. I think that Prolord's probably putting himself at more risk by driving so far out of the next zone, but now gets inside the Dacia and begins to move back in, approaching the team of the X team. And as we can see at the moment, the zone has changed again and moved more west, with all the main teams now grouping together. So I think this is where the game really will change.
Yeah, and Kanina Power, their aggressive rotation here in all different vehicles to reduce and minimise the chances of the entire team being knocked away here, which is what I like to see, considering they are going through several different teams to make it inside of the zone. Bet, though, going to be up first to try and finish off, and now they come together, try to finish off Bet, but they're rotating now together as well onto this mountaintop.
And Kanina Power is tracking them, but AXA gets knocked by BetX Dexter. And we have Rob Dinny moving in along with Tixie. And we have AXA being punched. And he is killed by BetX Rana, who now tries to get the rotation on the remaining members of Kanina Power. As Gonzo now starts moving in, tries to come around the other side along with Tixie. As BetX now start grouping together, making them very vulnerable to a decent grenade throw.
But Rob Dini, so far away, suggests to me that Kanina Power don't really want to make this fight. Gonzo and Tixie on another direction there, they could just try find a way across the ridge here out of the fight if they rotate away far enough, but they do look like they want this engagement. They take and finish off, bam, and now just another member falling down here as WWS will look like he needs to find a new game to be in because he's out as well, and Ron and Dexter now could be next.
And Gonzo is firing towards the vehicle, trying to explode that and get the explosive kill. Gonzo is now preparing a grenade, trying to get the angle right. And we now have Rob Dinny moving in by car. Dexter is knocked by that grenade. And now Rob Dinny is pushing in. We have Rana on the right-hand side. The options are limited for Rana at the moment. And they are taken down. That is KP getting 4 kills.
Kanina Power with such dominance in that fight, and I think Rob Dini there coming at the end was the final play there just to choke out BetX. They will be down in 12th position, but this zone with these rotations having now come out, perhaps KDB, an interesting rotation down to the south they've made, and they're perhaps going to look towards the west side, and as this zone will close down once again in the next 10-15 seconds.
And looking at the zone, we are now seeing UDR taken down by the play zone. We have X team out in the blue zone as well, along with Sandro, the remaining member of UDR Killers. We have Codex Wait just on the edge, waiting for the team to come in so they can be gate kept, getting some more kills for Codex. And we now have KDV in the red zone at the moment, moving north, possibly coming into contact with BFS. And then we have Gaijin just near to Scrim Farm at the moment. And finally, Unicorns of Love inside with Polar Ace.
Polar Ace here moving in against Fabi. Going to be the first member of Unicorns of Love they need to take down, but sneaked into the grass is Fabi, and he's going to look to try and finish off one, maybe two of Polar Ace before he may go down himself. Unicorns of Love, they need to try regroup, though I think with the best decision. This 2-1 split could be a little bit risky. if Fabi is caught out here down just to 2 members in this stage of the game, with many teams like Canina Power, like BFS, could be coming in towards you as well. Wouldn't be how they want to go.
And I think with Codex, as I just mentioned, they have now got that gatekeep kill. And Codex Wait moved out of zone to get it. And now may find himself in a very tricky position, having to come in behind 2 members of the X team. Now we have Unicorns of Love and Polar A's very near to each other. Based on the way they're acting at the moment, I don't think they know they're there.
Yeah, and this is a very interesting final zone as well here, considering that half of this zone realistically is fairly open here, and the trees in the other half in this mountaintop bit, Polar Ace and Unicorns of Love are controlling on the outskirts of the south. If it does shift towards there, they're going to have a massive advantage, considering that the rest of his teams, they have to make this gauntlet across the flat zone just to get to them.
And these are the sort of games that I really love, where you get such open ground and you then really rely on the players themselves, and you see who is skilled with things like smokes and flash grenades and grenades and using the terrain to their advantage. And I think that is what makes this game really, really interesting. But as we mentioned, we are seeing Polar Ace at the moment very close to Unicorns of Love. They are not yet firing, and I am very surprised considering how close Savage is. But saying that, Betex may be using this to their advantage. Sorry, is it Unicorns of Love, Team 11?
Yeah, Unicorns of Love there. Yeah.
Right, Unicorns of Love. I do apologise.
Taking down Savage.
Absolutely. And now we see Whiskey down 2, and we have Ked, the last standing member. Oh, wow. Sorry, and Whiskey is still up, but low on health. We have Ked too. Ked is quite far. So I think this is where you mentioned that split being a disadvantage. And now we have seen Whiskey down, and now Ked is trying to get in, but I think it may just be too little too late, as Whiskey is taken down by Fabi. And now Ked is pushing in, using smokes to try and cover his route. And we now have Canina Power jumping in on the left-hand side and getting some knocks of their own. Ked is shooting towards Hayes, and Ked is now being shot at by Unicorns of Love, but they are just not getting enough hits on him to make it worthwhile. But he's almost gone, but looks as though using a first aid kit will give him what he needs. And now we see Scrim Farm coming up against Gaijin.
Yeah, Gaijin still in this game, and unfortunately not for much longer, though. They have just been finished off as Scrim Farm delete them away. And Lenau and Peko surprisingly still alive, despite the fact they only had 2 members to begin with here. They're doing very well inside, coming into this final zone. But Canina Power, they made that rotation to the west side. They have the advantage alongside BFS, whichever team comes out on top here, especially KDV, though, an interesting split. Inside the zone, 2 different mountaintops. Gonna find it tricky though if they are oppressed by different angles.
And Ked was just taken down by Unicorns of Love there. They used that Jeep to distract Ked, and that gave Fabi the chance to just sneak in and get that kill. We are now looking at BFS, who are going up against Canina Power. They are in the open water-based territory at the moment, just using the buildings there for cover, as we have BFS Bep and we have Ferdy still alive and hoping to improve the position of BFS.
Well, this leg, interestingly, we don't get to see this often, where we're going to finish off this final game, and KDV looking pretty dominant inside the zone, but you have to be careful, as I say, they are split. BFS coming in here, and Satsura will be able to finish them off. Hilltop will put the cover away against Impress from being able to finish them off. But KDV, they put off impressive things in a 1 versus full team situation before. Can Satsura do it again?
And BFS Bep has just thrown a smoke. It looks as though by parking the Jeep where it was, has just blocked his opportunity to move, and is now using a boost to recover some health. They are inside zone at the moment. They have Unicorns of Love just over at northeast, and they have KDV just behind, with Canina Power just pushing in too. And then we finally have Dream Eaters just sneaking in on the outside. The second final zone, I believe, is all open, and KP Tixie gets a knock on BFS with a grenade.
And look at this zone right now. It's split in between these two islands with the water there separating Impress from the rest of it. And this zone continues to go towards Impress. This is when we might see Impress once again pop off against these teams and get some kills. Unicorns are love looking like they're struggling, though, and like it available in this final game to put out some hurt against the side of Dream Eaters as they continue their path into this final game to try to dominate the rest of these teams.
And Unicorns of Love is only left with one member as Fabian Hayes are taken down by Grenade, and Like is then taken down by HVVP. So that is Unicorns of Love taken down, and we now have Kanina Power just moving in towards the drop. We have Ferdy being revived by Ferdy reviving Bep at the moment, and they're preparing a grenade to go towards Tixie, and it does a little bit of damage, but just not enough.
Yeah, Tixie not able to find that next kill onto the side of BFS just yet, but they will find knock-up past BFS. Yes, they will confirm Kingdom Power down in 4th position. Whichever way this next phase zone goes will be in favour of BFS. All Dream Eaters on the winner of this fight, all Impress on the other side.
And Impress is rotating around at the moment to take Dream Eaters by surprise. And Dream Eaters have that high ground at the moment. They have the mountaintop, and they're using that to their advantage. Because as you've just seen, trying to scope in from BFS's position is becoming very difficult because the rocks are just blocking their way. And that is how Bep ended up being knocked. But Ferdy is now trying to get the revive. And if Dream Eaters want to keep going, they might want to try and push. But as we can see, their players are knocked too. So it looks as though Impress has the best position at the moment, being on his own.
Yeah, Impress did take down Meku. That held of Dream Eaters just now with his zone chewing through BFS positioning right now as they are forced away in his zone, eating them up like dogs to meat. As Dream Eaters will fall now. BFS next perhaps to fall down to Impress. Impress might just steal this one away, Abs.
If Impress manages to win this by literally doing nothing, it will be the greatest win in the history of PUBG. It is Ferdy against Impress. Ferdy is on the mountaintop at the moment, has no idea where Impress is, but I think Impress knows where Ferdy is, and he will know that by hearing those shots and those grenade explosions that we have just seen a moment ago. Ferdy is moving forward. Impress is now firing. Ferdy is being damaged. He's now just above 50% health. Impress is on that roof. Ferdy must now know where he is. And now Impress is changing position. Keeping Ferdy on his toes. Is pushing forward. Oh, please throw a grenade. And that will be the best finish we have ever seen on PUBG. And now Impress is moving round. Tries to get a bit of cover under those rocks. Ferdy is now preparing a grenade. A molly comes up. But just misses. It's a bit too high. A grenade now goes down. Impress moves to the left-hand side. He has been damaged. Ferdy is now outside of zone, trying to chase it back in. And just manages to get to cover.
Phase 8 zone, yeah, as Impress versus Ferdy. Impress on a low ground advantage, has to avoid those nades so coming in, Abs. And it does look like this phase 9 going to come in. Where will it go? Will Impress survive?
And we will see in just... Oh my god! Oh, that grenade was perfect.
All in one for BFS. As KDV will fall down. A grenade straight into the face of Impress finishes him off. And that with a chicken dinner stolen away for BFS.
Oh, imagine that. Just seeing a grenade come flying at your face.
And then you accept 2nd position.
He wasn't given a choice, but that was a brilliant bit of play from BFS. They found themselves disadvantaged momentarily by that blue zone, but luckily they had the grenades. They made sure they were prepared, and that, I think, and the pure skill of their players is what gave them the win in game number 4.
Yeah, an epic set of games. So in total, of course, BFS going to secure 1st position, KDV in 2nd, Dream Eaters is going to be in 3rd position, Kingdom Power in 4th, Unicorns of Love in 5th position, 6th with only 2 members impressively. Scrim Farm take that top 6 spot, and X Team in 7th.
And I think what we have seen tonight is really why these teams are able to participate in PMCO, they have skill, they have the synergy amongst teams. They know how their team players play.
Yeah, I definitely think, though, the level of these teams is something to marvel at, and I definitely, moving into the finals, I'm going to love to see what these teams have in store, especially, I think, looking into the future about what KDV can do, regardless of PMCO. I think Impress specifically as a player can 1v2, can 1v4 against Unicorns of Love, almost pulled off that chicken dinner to carry his team once again, and I think if this team can sort their group and increase their synergy out to have more players alive towards the end, I think this is a scary team to be looking at.
And what we've seen tonight is KDV, they have come first, they have come second, and they've continually come in the top 10, apart from one game, but saying that they came 12th. So they have done really, really well tonight, and I think that they are on the right track to do really well when the PMCOs do finally come round.
Yep, and again, obviously BFS, congratulations with their chicken dinner and their 8 kills in total. An interesting final game there to finish off between water.
Absolutely. And that has been the Zenith Squad Scrims. You have been watching Ab Summer and HighlandWolf, and all that is left for us to say tonight is please stay safe, take care, and we will see you at the same time next week. Good night, guys, and thank you for watching.